Matt, you got your ears on.
Yeah, can you hear me?
There we go. All right, there's Matt. All right, so it's John and Jarrett with you, Matt, and thanks for hanging out with us to get the lowdown on Charlottetown as you guys get ready for the match against Apotheos.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back. Really appreciate you guys doing the show and supporting soccer and the NPSL.
All right, so when you look back at this season, what's it been like to start something from the ground up? Obviously, it was a bit of a slow start, but you come storming in for the bottom half of the schedule. You end up as a 4 seed, first year in, first playoff appearance.
Yeah, it's funny, John. We spoke at the beginning of the season, and I think Mike Krzyzewski said a season is a lifetime. So you go through so much as a startup, and then you go through so much learning curve. But we're certainly a very different team, different club, different atmosphere than we were 2 or 3 months ago. And that's to be expected when you're pushing, when you're striving, when you're evolving. So really happy where we are right now.
Barrett Smith for Matt Spear, go for it.
Matt, what's been, especially as this season, it's having worked closely with Apotheos, it's kind of been cool watching y'all kind of getting the first look and then the last look and everything in between as the development, and it's been kind of weird kind of missing that, but seeing what it's become. What's been your favorite part of the season now that the season's in the books and you've actually played the games, and what's been your favorite part?
Yeah, I think you were down there that first game when we opened the season. And, honestly, when we were down 3-0 at half, I'm like, oh my gosh, this league is good. This level is good. But that's just the newness factor, right? And even in that game, if you recall, I thought we had the better of the second half. We scored a goal.
Agreed.
Local guy, Kupa Kantumpa, scored our first club goal, and he's from that area. His mom was there. So, we're driven by stories and progress. And, I think so for me, to answer your question, one of the greatest joys is to see the team both grow in quantity and quality. We knew we were going to be adding players during the first season, guys getting back from college or coming back from abroad. And we can get into some of those players individually. But I would say on the soccer side, just seeing the team embrace growth. It's really easy sometimes to get your ego in front of the culture, but that has not been the case. The coaches have done a good job to be culture first and trust and discipline and accountability. And now we've got this feel of we're in this together, and it's next man up mentality. Whoever's available on game day, we go and we do as well as we can.
So, Matt, who have been some of those studs for you this year that folks will be kind of gravitating toward as they watch this match against Apotheos and maybe watch you guys for the first time? Who are the standouts?
Yeah, so it starts with our captain, Joe Pickering, who was our first signed player, if you will. Joe was a national champion at UNC, North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and he's from England. So, it starts with him. I think it is kind of the foundation of the team in our inaugural season. I would point out Julian Sagnol. He was at our first tryout in March. He's from the defending or reigning champs Apotheos FC from last season. So really good caliber experience in the NPSL. He's been a benchmark and a standard. He scored a couple goals on set pieces for us this year as well. In terms of the new players that we've added during the season, probably the biggest standout would be Mika Habel. Mika is German-born, but went to high school in Charlotte and literally speaks English with a Southern accent. It's funny how quickly these guys can adjust and acclimate to the Southern culture. And he plays at the University of South Carolina now. He's been a critical player for us in the center midfield. And even as recent as last game, against Apotheos in the 10th and final weekend of the regular season, we had 2 more players make their debut. One was Tucker Lepley, who's captain of UCLA, who's a Charlotte native and came back for the end of the season. And another is Alexander Wyatt Ingram, who again came through Charlotte Soccer Academy in the Charlotte area and has been doing his last 2 years over in England playing and studying in college there. So we've continued to add pieces to the puzzle even up through week 10.
Jarrett, go for it.
And yeah, you talk about this last game, and the thing I've noticed that has been so impressive was just it's the fearlessness that this club has played with this year, because I think it would have been really not necessarily easy, but understandable for a new club to come in and kind of be apprehensive. But the way the way Charlottetown played on the front foot and is willing to take risks for the glory, it especially paid off early in that game with a penalty. Is it just a full buy-in from everybody to the fact that everybody is basically plays with zero fear and plays so aggressively?
Yeah, a lot of that goes to our coaching staff. I was very fortunate and lucky, to be honest, to get the coaches that we got. And I think, John, you know a little bit about our backstory, but one of the reasons we decided to be teammates with Charlotte Soccer Academy is, number one, it's the largest club in the Charlotte area, and I think seventh largest in the country. It was lacking a team at this level, so we kind of complete their pathway, so to speak, before the professional. And although our team is not completely full of Charlotte Academy products, it has a lot. So in fact, 8 of our 11 starters on this past weekend's game came through the Charlotte Soccer Academy pathway. And so we have a lot of roots in the Charlotte area. I think it's important. Those guys know each other. They trust each other. They've been around each other. And so they go back a long way. And on top of that, our coaches are all within the Charlotte Soccer Academy family as well. And so I think a lot of it comes from that synergy with the club and in our complex being their centerpiece of their facilities. Really, really good. So I think the fearlessness that you said, John, I think comes from our coaches wanting to play on the front foot, wanting to dominate possession, believing that we can build the ball from the back and through the final thirds. Those are all soccer perspectives. For me, not only as a former soccer coach, I admire that, but as one of the 3 founders of the club, we really believe in being joy-driven. And so we want our players to play with joy, without stress, without expectation, for them to enjoy each other, for lack of a better term. This summer is a great opportunity for them to grow as people, as players, to learn from different coaches, to be in a different environment in the NPSL. And so the last thing we want them to do is be looking over their shoulder at us. We want them to play with that freedom and creativity, be aggressive, be fearless, and basically, as I said before, just be joy-driven.
So what has the response been like from a fan and community perspective playing up there at Ortho Carolina? Because I know that sometimes for a first-year club in any sport, there's always the newness factor, and folks will come in and see what's going on, and then it's incumbent upon the club to figure out how, once they've gotten them in the door, to keep them there and keep them coming back. What's the response been like for this home season for you guys?
Yeah, the NPSL, you guys know so well, is really a great opportunity for a community to come together around a lower level sports club and create a new synergy that adds to the soccer fabric of this entire area. So I think Charlotte is unique, of course, every city is, but it's different than some of the other NPSL marketplaces, some of which, you know well, John, we've talked about. Is one of our 3 co-founders is Michael Hitch, who has several clubs, including Apotheos FC, and the recent revelation of Annapolis Blues, which is blowing out, breaking records in their first season with 8,000 plus at the Navy Stadium in Annapolis. So great story. Charlotte, we're not going to get those crowds the first year or 2. We know that. It's not because of the size of the market being too small. In actuality, it's so big, and there's so many other soccer entities that we're going to have to kind of find our way. But we're doing that based on a couple of unique things that set us differently from other soccer entities in Charlotte. For one, we're doing the Hops FC. So Hops obviously is a big piece of it, combining with local breweries. Charlotte, like other great growing cities, is rapidly expanding its local craft brew scene. I think there's up to about 50 now. It seems like one's coming on every month or 2. And you get millennials, and you get families, and you get business types, and you get moms and dads that kind of connect with that culture. So one of the things we've done on a game day experience is we added a 4th local brewery partner, Red Clay Cider Works, in addition to Lost Worlds Brewing. Middle James is our founding partner on the brewery side, and Petty Thieves in Uptown Charlotte. And each of those bring some different dynamics. Both, they bring 3 craft beers, but they also bring their perspective, their fans, their kind of mojo, for lack of a better term. And so I think it's one thing we've tried to do, John, to separate us from other entities, is have a really good local craft beer scene that you can go and enjoy yourselves. And then adding local vendors as well. So La Única, authentic Mexican cuisine, has been our primary staple from a food perspective. We think Latino food, good craft beer, good football, soccer, if you will, is kind of a good trifecta for fans to enjoy themselves, and other vendors that we have at the game as well. We have fans come literally that are Charlotte FC fans, and we love Charlotte FC, and we go to games, and we enjoy being a Major League Soccer marketplace now. We also have fans come from other soccer entities, and they do notice that it's a different perspective, a different offering, and I think they're appreciating that.
Well, Matt, as one of the co-owners, it's great to see Charlottetown Hops come up and hit the ground running. You're in your first year. You get your first playoff appearance. You're the 4 in the Southeast. You've got to travel to Apotheos here in the midweek. Thanks for hopping on. I know that you've got some other things to do with the other aspects of your life and your other personalities. Thanks for parachuting in, breaking everything down for the first year at Charlottetown Hops. Good luck against Apotheos. We'll catch up with you on the flip side and find out everything that you've learned as a franchise in year 1. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I appreciate it, John. Take care.